Welcome to the Parry
Wow.
Podcast,
I'm
the
so
Spooky
evil.
Parry
Sorry, today's not
Podcast.
the evil cast. I'm so scared. Ooh.
Ooh. Today we are here
I'm so
with
scared. It's so scary.
Mingus and Jacob.
I'm
Hello.
so scared.
Hello.
With that, weren't you?
Or I always like to call him James Bond because he was James Bond
Hello.
today in school.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I was something else, which we will get to.
Yeah.
I was dressed as Parry.
Yeah, and I was Evil Skull.
Yeah, and he was evil skull for Halloween. It was great.
Yeah.
Did my message get deleted? I tried to send one to the.
Oh, that's the video
Um,
playing. I'm sorry. If you heard that background noise and like that was just the video playing, I didn't realize I left it up there. But
is Juliet supposed to be coming?
um, no, due to AOs. But I think she'll come next podcast.
Okay. Well,
Anyways, let's continue. Let's ball. What do you mean
What?
balls?
oh,
I see you in
you're
the
looking
chat.
at.
Coca-Cola. Anyways.
I love balls.
So as you hear right now in the background, there's ambience. The first podcast to have ambience. Write it down in the history books.
It's a Perry podcast first.
Yeah, and it's like we're on a campfire, right? Because this is actual recording. We are actually on a campfire right now. You hear the campfire
We're
right
special
now.
like that.
Yeah, and it's even nighttime, even though it's not that time if you look at the time zone, but it's nighttime. Trust me.
It is that time. I'm at night. I'm currently in Japan.
Yeah, we're all.
No, is it night in Japan? No, it's like early morning in Japan. Where is it night? No, I'm in like Poland.
Yeah, you got
Not
these
in Poland.
Polish trees, you got the Polish stars, you got the Polish skinwalker in the background, if you look close enough. Anyways,
Polish Skinwalker. Polish Skinwalker. Oh my god, that's so scary.
Yeah,
Grr.
scary. Anyways, let's continue on with the podcasty wadcasty. The pod what?
Can I just say, take a second, plug the Mingus.251 YouTube channel I uploaded for the first time in like 2 months.
Yeah. So
Also, I stole it from the video from Isaiah, although it was mainly featuring me. I hope that's okay, Isaiah.
Yeah.
I know you're listening.
I see him in the chat. Anyways, also, I have to tell you before we even start exactly. In terms of the pod clips, that will upload next week. Cause what I plan to do later on in this podcast, I say that like a few days when it's actually like in 10 minutes or so, is like we're gonna tell spooky stories, and then each spooky story get their own pod clip next week. So yeah, but tomorrow will be something else. So don't miss out.
Ooh, can't wait.
Yeah. Anyways, what's your thoughts on root beer?
Root beer, love root beer. Root beer's so good. Root beer, my favorite soda.
Root beer's
Not
okay.
still, but it used to be.
I'm gonna be
Did
honest.
you say it's bad?
I did not say it was bad. I said it was just okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I never had root beer, or at least I don't remember.
Root beer's so good.
With you.
Okay, anyway. Can I tell them about my Halloween costume, Perry?
In one
let's hear.
second. Now.
1 second. Okay, so today and tomorrow, because I'm going to a party tomorrow, and on Sunday, because I'm going out with friends trick-or-treating on Halloween, despite being too old to trick-or-treat, I am dressed as Senpai from Friday Night Funkin', because everyone says I look like him already.
Yeah, you even had like a mod. There's a mod, technically.
Yeah, Perry made multiple videos about me being Senpai in Friday Night Funkin'.
Yeah, I wonder who made that.
Yeah, I wonder who could have done this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I gotta mute myself for like 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Jacob, say something smart.
So what's your Halloween
Something.
experience, Jacob? Like, how's your day being James Bond?
How's my day being James Bond?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, nobody knew who I was. Everybody would as people would ask me,
I
"Who
knew
are
who
you?"
you
I would
were.
say
I
James
knew who you
Bond.
were. Exactly who you were.
Yeah, because I told you
No,
beforehand.
no, 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 no. You didn't. You never told me. I just guessed.
Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? You're right. You're right.
I just knew. I'm just smart. I
Okay.
know who everyone is. Perry, I know
Yeah.
who you were today.
I was evil Skull.
You're right. You were Evil Skull. There's
Yeah.
nothing to read into there. I loved it. Loved Evil Skull. Evil Skull, best costume.
Yeah. Um. So what are you
I
gonna?
think we have costumes nicely.
So what are you gonna? Why is George leaving the voice chat? I don't know. Anyways, what are you gonna do for
Spooky.
the actual Halloween day? Like,
For actual Halloween day. Well, actually, I have haircuts on actual Halloween day,
oh, like what kind of haircut? Are you
and
getting like
then
a wave cut?
Hello, back. Okay.
I just gotta trim my hair because it's getting too long. And
Oh,
then
okay.
again, like George, even though I'm too old, one of my other friends invited me out to go trick or treating with them. So I figured, you know what? Why not?
I get candy and I get to have a good time with my friends. It's good. Good deal.
I never eat the candy that I get during Halloween. I'm not a big candy person, honestly.
Can I have your candy?
Possibly.
I have a question for all of you, and even you in the chat.
Yeah.
If there's a bowl that says take one candy, do you take one candy, or do you be devilish?
I
I take candy.
Jacob said he already didn't like candy. I will be honest. I take maybe two or three, but not more than that because more than that is excessive.
Do you take the whole bowl?
I took the bowl. I left the candy. Yeah, I love bowls. I have a bowl collection.
Yes, it's an amazing bowl collection. You got iron bowls.
I got all kinds of bowls. I'm a
You
bowl
got
collector.
mahogany bowls.
Mahogany. We have a really nice bowl that no, I actually think it's at my grandparents, but we found it like on this, or my grandparents found it just on the side of the road. But it was a super nice big wooden bowl that they just cleaned up, and it's like the kind of stuff that would run you like $400. It's a really nice bowl.
Yeah,
You don't understand how nice this bowl is.
that sounds like a really
It's
nice
re-
bowl. I bet if if that bowl was right in front of me right now, it would be, oh my goodness gracious, I love this bowl. My
oh
favorite
my god,
bowl.
Sort of Draws liked our post.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
Anyways, what's your experience with Halloween in the past? Like,
Halloween in the past. Last year I felt bad because we trick or treated even though it was the middle of COVID. Because we really wanted to. We were all wearing masks and everything. But I didn't really have a costume last year, which is what I mostly feel bad about because I had a rubber duck mask, and that was a costume, sure, but it wasn't like Senpai Friday Night Funking level of costume. Also, I'm gonna keep saying funking and not funkin' because I don't know, it probably gets on someone's nerves, and that's funny. Anyways, I don't think there's a year where I haven't trick or treated since as long as I can remember. Like, I don't know if I did when I was in the city for the first 2 years of my life, but once I moved to whatever the town we live in is, I yeah,
I
I
haven't been
trick or
trick or
treated every
treating the
year.
past few years.
You should go with me.
Maybe. So, what about you, Jacob? What's your experience?
Halloween has never been my favorite holiday. It's never been my least favorite. I always enjoy the Halloween party that I go to every year with my family. Because they throw a big Halloween party that they invite everyone, so that's always fun. But I've never really enjoyed trick. I don't know. It's not that I've disliked trick or treating. It's just never been really my favorite thing. I mean, I guess I enjoy dressing up, and kind of don't at the same time. So yeah, it's just a weird holiday.
I love, I absolutely love Halloween's my favorite holiday because it comes smack dab in the middle of my favorite season, which is fall. I love fall.
He's a fall lover.
I'm a fall lover.
Which reminds me, I remember like
Yes.
a few days ago in like I think history class, the teacher brought up, hey, the freshman, I told them on Monster Mash and they didn't know what Monster Mash was. I'm like, what?
How old is this freaking history teacher, man?
Like,
He's a young guy.
yeah.
Oh, well, that makes more sense than if you were really old, probably. Who was he? Can you,
What do you mean, who
get,
was he? I'm not gonna dox him on the podcast.
dox him?
Okay, his name is Mr. Denobly.
A triple dog dare you to dox him.
His name is Jesse Pinkman.
I'm texting you right now, George. Just don't repeat it.
Alrighty. But anyways, yeah, it's weird how the freshmen, even though they're like only like 2 years younger than us, they do not know Monster Mash.
It's strange.
Yeah. No wonder they're so annoying.
The freshmen this year are so strange.
Yes. Yeah, and then, like I think earlier today, like at lunch, there was like a fight between 2 freshmen.
Yeah, there were like a bunch. Were those freshmen? I know there were a couple fights today, which is weird because like
There were
they
two
don't
fights
have
today.
you super doctor.
Yeah, there are 2
Often.
fights. One in like.
There was one with Ivy and
Why
someone
are you
else.
doxing?
It's her first name. What are they gonna do?
They're
Give a
gonna
whole
know,
list
they're
of the
gonna know.
Ivies in the world?
There's only one Ivy.
There's only one Ivy? Well, good. Have fun finding her. Anyway, what was I thinking? I was thinking something.
Very evil things, very scary things.
Evil, scary things. Evil, scary. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like explosions.
Anyway, there was something I was gonna say, and now it's bothering me that I can't say it. Okay, different thing that I was gonna say. I'm gonna have to go early-ish, depending on how long this podcast goes. Like, I probably have to leave around 4:45. If it's longer than that, I'll have to vamoose.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So, should we go on with the scary? Do we have anything else to say about Halloween before we go on to the scary story part?
Like my YouTube video. Other than that, no, not really.
Like and subscribe.
But like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Also, share with all your friends.
Like and subscribe.
All of them. That's not a joke. Go to the video, which I realize some of you might not know. It's the Mingus.251 YouTube channel, or maybe
Yeah,
just
it's in the
Mingus251.
bio. It's in the description.
It's in the description. Good. So go to there. Go to the newest video, which is like 5 minutes long. It says Senpai from Friday Night Funkin' Interviews or something like that. Something clickbaity.
Is it one of the hashtag cute boys?
One of the hashtags is hashtag cute boys because, I mean, just get a look at me.
And me.
And me.
And Jacob, who I interviewed. I don't know if it was in the video, though. But anyway.
No, that was James Bond in the video.
Yeah, I interviewed James Bond. Go there, like the video, send it to every single one of your contacts. And if anyone sends me screenshots of their text messages that they sent it to every one of their contacts, I will literally come to your house and give you a kiss on the lips. Promise.
Alrighty, so
yeah.
We get to go into the spooky, scary story parts.
Yes, I would love to go into the spooky, scary story parts.
Should I go first? Because I have a basis of a story. Wow.
I know what I want to do, but you can go first if you want.
Okay,
I'll go first.
And also, this is for the chat. For those watching, you can write a scary story of your own, and at the end, if there are scary stories, I'll read them from the chat.
Can I read them?
No.
I like reading stories.
No.
Oh. Anyway.
Okay. So, on one dark night, a podcast podcast is being recorded live. This podcast was hosted by Parry,
Live.
spelled with an E, and with his common guest.
Parry spelled with an E.
Yeah.
Is that evil Parry?
No.
Good Parry?
No.
Are you evil Parry?
Possibly.
What? Oh my! Wow! Good golly gosh!
So anyways, I need to take a little break. So can someone else tell their story?
Okay, yeah, I can tell my story.
Oh, I heard that.
All right, so Mr. the Nerd,
Yes.
you know Adam.
Yeah.
All right, this story comes from when we were in Cub Scouts together, and I think his dad told the story because his dad was big with the Cub Scout thing. He like leader of the pack or whatever, the freaking Cub Scout alpha. His dad is a huge nerd. It's so funny. No, but we were sitting around a campfire. It was like our yearly go to a campground and camp and do activities thing, right?
Yeah.
So this story's from him during one of those days.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Set the scene. You're driving in an old Ford pickup truck down the street in this, the mountains of West Virginia.
Okay.
Through Appalachia, you're passing through dense forests and little quiet. No, I wouldn't call them or rural towns. That's the word I'm looking for. Little quiet rural towns. Roads are going back and forth between paved roads and dirt roads that kick up dust with every time you drive over them. And you get to this one small town. It's nothing special. You've seen dozens like it on your drive. It's full of little houses, a couple farms here and there because it's people. It's people. It's exactly what you'd expect. Not farms so much as ranches because it was on the mountains. They couldn't farm much.
Mm-hmm.
So you drive maybe 20 miles past the town. Suddenly you hear your car engine start to stutter and like make all these noises you've never heard come out of a car before. You start to slow with a jolt, not like a consistent deceleration, but like a jolting slowing, like you're stopping, like so you're completely stopped. You swerve off to the side of the road, so you're not parked in the middle of the road, and you sit there for a minute, thinking, "What am I gonna do?" It's the middle of the night. By the way, it's the middle of the night, and you're just sitting there. You don't have a phone because this is like 1981. You're sitting there, you don't have a phone, you have no idea what you're going to do. You see, off in the distance, maybe a couple hundred meters away, through the woods a little bit, the light in the cabin. You decide, okay, well, I need help. I can survive the night out here, but I won't be comfortable. If I can get help from them, I might be able to get back to the town and spend the night in the hotel or even fix my car better.
And then there was an explosion.
All right, Perry, let me finish my story. This is a good story. So remember, this is from Adam's dad. Credit to Adam's dad. It's a classic story. Some of you might have heard this before. It's a classic Cub Scout story. Okay, anyway. So you walk through the forest on a gravelly path. Maybe not gravelly. The stones were a little too big to be called gravelly. Not too small to be called cobblestone. It was just stony path. Must have shredded the tires of cars that would drive along it. Can only imagine what kind of machines these people were driving.
A walkie pad, like
it wasn't like one consistent rock. Rather, it was just a bunch of medium-sized little rocks. But you're walking along this path. It's not especially long. Like I said, a couple hundred meters. Going through trees and in the dark. I don't know if you've ever walked through the woods like at night. Not even on a trail, just in the woods. but it's serene until you realize behind any one of those trees there could be any number of things, and you wouldn't have the slightest idea. It would be so easy to hide. There could be endless
Slenderman.
nightmares just in the brush and
There could
in
be
behind the
Slenderman.
trees, up in the trees, above you, just looking at you. Just
There could.
you can feel their eyes prying into the back of your neck, just like causing little pinpricks to almost like poke out. But you start to develop this feeling as you're walking along, and you eventually make it to the house. And it turns out there was nothing in the woods, at least not that you could see, or not that wanted to harm you. Maybe there was something looking at you that just wasn't up to hurting you. But you make it to the house. It's this little not almost not a plaza, but like a couple buildings. There's a cabin, and then there's a little clearing and a barn. So you ask the guy, or not the guy. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of it. So you knock on the door. An old man answers. It's hobbled over. He has to be like under 5 feet tall. It's bald, bald head with little bits of hair and liver spots. He's not a nice sight to look at. But he seems nice enough. You ask, "Hey, do you think you could help me get to town? My car broke down a little bit out, and it's the middle of the night. It's like 1 in the morning. I can't walk 20 miles.
and,
That's a
and
little
then he jump scared
unrealistic."
you. And then he jump scared.
And then he jump scared us. No, and then he's in like this old robe, like nothing you would see anyone wear in the past 200 years. He's in like a robe. It's gray. There's like a rope tied around it to keep it together, almost like a bathrobe, but like you could
Evil.
see someone going around town wearing this. It wasn't like a bathrobe kind of robe. So he says, I would love to take you to town, but I'm afraid that my car's out of gas. I was planning on walking into town in the morning and buying some more gas and getting a ride back. But I hate to leave you out here in the cold. Do you want to stay in the barn or something? I can bring you out blankets and make you nice and comfortable. Give you a home. And you say, that would be amazing. I would hate to have to spend the night out here in the cold. It's like 40 degrees out. You'd survive, but it would just be an unpleasant experience. A little damp on the ground,
Fahrenheit.
rain the day before. Yeah. So he gets a pillow and an armful of blankets, and he walks out to the barn. He unlocks the door with a big key on his keychain. He has like a keychain under his robe that's tied to a little hook on his belt. And he walks to the back of the barn, brushes some hay away, and lays out a couple blankets and a pillow and says, "All right, rest well. Talk to you in the morning. You can walk with me as much as you can. I'll help you however I can. You know. You thankful as anything to have a place to sleep and some blankets and just a little bit of warmth. Say, okay, thank you so much. I'll let you sleep now." So he goes. But on his way out, he tenses when he's by the door and turns back. He says, "Oh, there's something I need to do before I go to bed. Now, you can come with me if you want. It's a sight, to be sure. You can come with if you want. It's something." And he goes over to a little patch in the corner of the barn, brushes the hay out of the way until it reveals a trap door on the ground, old and wooden. He grabs the handle, which has a lock on it. He grabs his keychain, puts this big brass key into it, ornate brass key. There are all kinds of like details that you could spend hours just looking into. It's mesmerizing. Puts it in the padlock, and with like a snap, not a click, but a snap, it unlocks. takes the lock off, leaves it on the ground, and opens the trapdoor with a giant. Yeah. So, he opens the trapdoor, and there's a ladder. You can see the bottom. It's not especially deep, maybe 10, 12 feet. So he climbs down and says, "You coming?" You, curious as anything, walk down or climb down the ladder and look around the tunnel.
And then you see
It's
a big
it's
giant monster.
it's small. It's cramped. It's stone, a little wet. There's like bits of root hanging down from the ceiling. Hello, they're probably coming from the outside. Trees surrounding the barn. There's the walls and floor are cobbled but still covered in dirt. And he starts to walk. He has a flashlight, so you're not walking pitch black. And you're just wondering. You're so curious what's going on. You never experienced anything like this before. You're excited, almost. A little scared, but excited. And he comes to this giant wooden door. Like, this tunnel was small, but the door took up the entire tunnel, and it seemed to be more. Like, it looked like it went out further than the walls. He takes out his key ring and finds another lock. Another key. This one was little and elegant. It wasn't as ornate as the other one. It was tiny and silver, and it fit perfectly for the tiny silver lock that was around the door. Fit it in, the click, it opened, and he had to be all his strength pressing up against that wooden door to get it to open. That thing was heavy as an elephant or something. Heavy as an elephant. I'm going to go with that. Heavy as a mouse. Heavy as at least a couple mice.
Yeah.
All right.
Couple of mices.
Couple of mice. So he presses open the door. You offered help, but he insists that he can do it. And suddenly you're in another hallway. This one was bigger. The walls were made of like stone bricks. It wasn't like the red bricks that you would see. It was like big stone gray bricks. Floor was made of the same thing. And on the wall there were torch brackets, but there were no torches because what, do we live in the medieval times or something? That would just be stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And he walks along, and you follow because you have to know what's at the end of this. You've been walking for like 5 minutes at least, and you just need to know. You need to know what's going to be at the end of this hallway.
And at the end of the hallway was a deluxe biggie bag from Wendy's. $5. And it's a biggie bag.
No. Wait. At the end of the hallway was another door. You go along the door. He goes to the door. This one is different. It's made out of smooth, like slightly. It's smooth, but it's uneven stone. It's just one big slab on the ground, sitting vertically on the ground. And there's a little keypad, which didn't seem to fit the aesthetic, but I don't think he cared. And he puts in a code. 0721. The code he put it in. And you look over his shoulder because, no, you don't try to spy, but you've just been watching what he's doing anyway, and you know the code, right? 0721. And the stone, this giant, had to be multiple tons of just pure rock, started to slide effortlessly out of the way. You look at the ground where it was, and there's just like a slick track of metal and oil and something that made it smooth. It doesn't make much sense, but you keep going. You're now in like just a purely dirt tunnel. This is just mud on every side. And you walk for a while. Calling it mud isn't exactly the right word. It was dry dirt. This dirt had not seen moisture in hundreds of years. No, thousands of years. This dirt was, if you put your hand on the wall, you felt like the tunnel might collapse. It wasn't small either. It was big, it was round, felt like a hobbit hole, but dry. So dry. There were bits of dead plant like littered across the ground and hanging from the ceiling. You walk along for maybe another 5 minutes. You come to it. A great cell lay at the end of this tunnel. And in the cell, it was made of the same dirt, dry dirt that could collapse at any second. There was an animal. It was huge. It was unlike anything you'd ever seen. It had to be some kind of gorilla. It was giant, huge gorilla. But the weird thing about it was the color. It was purple. It was bright purple. Right? Purple. This purple gorilla was at the end of the tunnel in a cell, and it was just docilely, just laying there. It wasn't asleep, but it was just laying there on its back against the wall, seeming to be waiting for something. Sure enough, the old man, whose name you never learned, took his robe in one hand and pulled it out. And with his other hands, not his other robe, he only had one robe. He reached into his coat and pulled out a big burlap sack. He turned the sack upside down, and onto the floor had to be 9 or 10 just bunches of bananas. He says, "Oh, I almost forgot. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And he picked up the bananas one by one, or the bunches one by one, and pushed them through the bars of the cell. The gorilla seemed like lazily got up and just wandered over there and started eating the banana. Right? It didn't seem especially angry. Like, you'd imagine a gorilla in these conditions would not be friendly. It would hate its life. It would just be so angry at whatever thing was keeping it in prison there. And the old man, just after he finishes feeding the banana, he just says, "All right, good night. I'll see you later." And he beckons for you to come and starts walking along the tunnel. He presses a button, closes the stone door, and locks it with another button on that side. He walks back to the wooden door. He, with a lot of effort, just pulls it closed and locks it shut with the little silver key. And you walk back along to the very beginning of the tunnel, climb up the ladder, and he says, "All right, I hope that you've experienced something new tonight. Whatever you do, don't find your way back there. That, I know it looked peaceful, but that is one dangerous animal right there." And he closes the trapdoor with a big boom and pushes you over to your bed. Not like in a physical sort of way, but in like all right, come on, go sleep now. All right. And push you over to your bed, and you pull in the blankets and get ready to have a peaceful night of sleep. The old man walks out of the barn, looks back at you, and shuts the door. Now, of course you want to see that thing again. It's calling to you. It's an animal instinct. You're so curious. No, maybe not an animal instinct, because curiosity is only really a cat thing, but a human instinct. You want to know as much as you can, and that thing is something so tantalizingly knowable. You have to walk. You have to know what it is. So you walk over to the trapdoor. What do you see? But the old man's keychain lying there on the ground a couple feet away from the trapdoor. He must have dropped it. You think, oh, this is too perfect. And it's really late at this point. It's like 2 or 3 in the morning. You pick up the keychain. It has more keys than you saw him use. He must have tons of things to keep track of. Maybe a whole zoo in here. But you find the big ornate bronze key, and you put it in the giant lock on the trapdoor. It opens with a snap, and you pull open the trapdoor with a creak. Climb down the ladder, and you don't run, but you walk fast along the tunnel to the wooden door. You get the little silver key, and you put it in the little lock, and you open it, and you walk along the stone brick path here, and you get to the stone door, which you remember the code because you saw it earlier, obviously. It's 0721. You repeat to yourself because, maybe subconsciously you're hoping of going back. You open it, you put in the buttons, and this door opens with no noise, actually, because it's so well oiled. It must have some mechanism in there that just keeps the door fresh. You walk into the dirt tunnel. You walk along for longer than you thought you could have. You were walking in that tunnel for, it had to be 20, 30 minutes. It felt like an age. So eventually you get back to the gorilla. Now, there is something special that happens when you see something that you know, maybe you don't realize, but you subconsciously know that no human, or very few humans, have ever seen this. It's just a feeling of uniqueness. You feel so special to have seen this, so lucky. You just stood there for a while, looking at this great hairy ape with fur coming out in tufts. It was like bright purple. It was the color of Barney the dinosaur. I don't know why that's the first thing that came to mind, but it was. So after 5-10 minutes of just looking, you don't dare touch it. You want to get a little closer because it's so magnificent a beast. You just want to get a little closer to the cell. So you do. You slowly walk forward. Little puffs of dry dust are coming up from the ground with every step. You get to the bars. The girl is not awake yet, maybe still chewing on one of the banana peels. Looks up at you. It still has that lazy expression on its face. Just, you've seen it. You've seen it in animals, like an old golden retriever lying by a fire. Porch dog kind of lazy. And then in an instant, it seems as if a filter came over its eyes, and nothing changed physically, but you could tell you immediately knew that something was wrong. Something was up. It was angry. So, and it stood up, it roared. It was a giant gorilla roar. It beat its purple chest and ran up against the bars as hard as it could. Now, you knew what this tunnel was like. It was dusty, it was crumbling. The bars just fell out of the wall. It just collapsed on the floor with a big rattle. You just turn and run. You're terrified. This thing could rip you in half. It could grab one arm, grab your torso, could rip one arm off, then the other, then the legs, then the other leg, then your head, and you'd just be left as a little rectangle, a little bloody rectangle on the ground. I think it'd be content. I don't think it would eat you. I think it would just be happy to see you mutilated. You run as fast as you can back to the stone door. You run through the door. You press a button. It closes. And you keep running as fast as you can through the stone tunnel. And from behind you, you hear a thunderous explosion. It's like a quarry. It's like they're mining for rock, and it's just they plant a seed of an explosion deep in the earth, and it just rumbles your entire existence. And you keep running. You get to the wood door. You as hard as you can. You put all your strength into it. You have it almost breaks you trying to, after running for 5-6 minutes. You run as fast as you can. You get to the wood door. You just barely push it open, squeeze through, and push it closed again. And you quickly, hurriedly, almost drop the key in your way to get it into the lock. But it locks with a click, and you run back to the ladder. When you have your 2 arms on the ladder, you haven't quite started to climb up yet. You hear this giant splintering noise. It sounded like a dam exploding. An old wooden dam that's just been slowly rotting over years, but the wood is somehow still dry, and just the water comes out in a giant explosion and splintering of wood. It gets everywhere. You hear the sound of that. You know gorilla's coming. So you climb up the ladder as fast as you can. You don't even bother to close the trapdoor because you know you just have to get out of there. The trapdoor, it could not stand any of that. You run, you push the barn door open through the hay, and you sprint as fast as you can through the trees, through the things looking at you, through the eyes piercing the back of your neck. You get to your car. You think, oh, no, this has to start. The car has to start. There's no other way I could get out of this. You open the car door, put the keys in, you turn them. There's a sputtering noise as the car tries its best to start, but there's no use. Can't get out of there. But you still have hope. You start to run out of the car. You get out of the car and you run. You know there's no way you're getting anywhere, but maybe the gorilla will just lose track of you and give up. Behind you hear a stampeding noise. You know it's getting close. It's getting close. It wants you. It wants to rip you in half. It wants to destroy you. It wants to make you less than human. And all in a moment, the gorilla caught up. Probably could have been at any point. This was more for the sport of hunting than a predator-prey situation. Jumps over you. Stops in front of you. Contemplating you. In a split second, this peaceful moment in between two extremes, you and the gorilla lock eyes. Giant purple matted flesh, banana pulp and hay and dirt, it's monstrous. You've never seen a thing more ugly than this gorilla. All of a sudden it pounces on you and says, "Tag, you're it." There we go. Good one.
Yeah. Is that the end of the story?
That's the end of the story, yeah.
That's a long story.
It's a long story. Good job, George.
I don't know how long that was. I just kind of started telling it.
I think that was about 20 minutes. It's 4:45.
I definitely made that longer than it could have been.
Yeah.
But I thought that was pretty good, especially towards the end. Once I got the rhythm up, I was not second guessing my words. But I thought that was pretty good.
It was a really
anyway,
good storytelling though. I'm gonna be real.
thank
I
you.
did kind of phase out at some points because it was long, but yeah.
It was long. It was repetitive. It was kind of meant for that.
Yeah.
The middle of the story, very repetitive. It's just meant to build suspense,
Yeah, as well as I wasn't here for the first part, so I was a little bit confused. But I assumed a guy got lost, and then this old guy he invites him into the house, and then they go to the basement. They go into this room with this gorilla. I like to assume.
All right. Well, you don't have to summarize the whole thing. You don't have to.
But
you don't have to summarize the whole thing. Anyway, I'm gonna stay on for a little bit longer, but I'm gonna get dressed while I do because I don't want to wear my senpai costume to the football game I'm playing at tonight. So.
Alrighty. So I guess I'll continue my story, which was
yes.
Yeah. I'll start from the beginning. It isn't as long as Mingus's, by the way, so don't worry if you worry about the length.
Alright.
On one dark night, a podcast is being recorded live. This podcast was hosted by Parry, spelled with an E, and his common guest Mingus, spelled with a T.
Spelled with a Q.
No, spelled with a T. It's my story.
Tingus.
No, it's just Mingus, but there's a T somewhere in the spelling.
A silent T.
Yeah, a silent T, exactly. So anyways, they ought to have the best podcast of their lives. Parry, spelled with an E, was talking, but then heard a whistle outside. He would look out his window and see a strange cat with big feet and big eyes and very, very black. The cat then said in a West New York accent, "Hello, I am Fillmore," spelled with a K.
West New York, so like Buffalo
Yeah.
or West New York City.
No, West New York, like Buffalo.
So Buffalo.
Yeah.
I realize now I have no idea. I could not name a city west of Buffalo, New York, like that little like peninsula, of New York.
Yeah.
I could not name anything in that. I do not know anything about that part of New York. Anyway, continue.
Alright, so, bless you. So, okay. Then Perry spelled with an E says, "Hello, Fillmore." Then Fillmore turns into a huge skinwalker beast and takes Perry's skin. Fillmore then continues
That's so evil.
Yeah, Fillmore then continues the podcast using not mine, Perry's skin, Perry with an E. At the end of the podcast, Mingus with a T says, "Yo, Perry, you've been acting kind of different."
Hey, is everything okay? You've been acting a little different lately.
Yeah, and then Fillmore, this is the best part, then Fillmore with a K says,
Better jump scare them, Parry.
yeah. And then,
Don't worry.
And then Mingus spelled with a T screams in agony. Fades away from Earth. Fillmore spelled with a K then goes to the fridge to eat a cheesecake. The end.
Oh, good. The end.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah, and then the gorilla from Your Story pops up and they both have a cheesecake.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad.
So, Jacob,
Anyway.
you're the last one. So, have you had a scary story?
I think I do.
Okay.
I might, possibly, maybe. Let me see. Just give me a second to work it all together. I'm gonna try to make it up on the spot.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I stole mine from Adam's dad, so.
How did you remember all
Alright.
that?
Yeah, how did you?
I have not heard that story in has to be 7 or 8 years. But little bit of storytelling magic, meaning I made some shit up. Sorry, I can't say that on the podcast. I
Banned, blocked.
got banned. I made some stuff up, and I just basically threaded together the points I remember.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
So, Jacob, you have a story right now?
Yep. All right. Once upon a time, there was a man named Mingus251,
Whoa.
Ooh.
That sounds a lot like this Mingus 251.
and he was playing with his friend Treebean, and they were at Treebean's house playing video games, and they wanted to order a pizza. They called the pizza place, and the pizza place guy said, "All right, we'll be on our way soon." 30 minutes later, the pizza comes, but there's no pizza. There's no pizza inside that they ordered. There's pizza, but it has anchovies, in it, and they didn't order anchovies.
Anchovies on pizza is good.
Hey, what's
Hot
the
take.
pizza place? What's the pizza place first off?
Pizza and stuff.
That's a spoiler.
Sorry,
So-
just talked about- I don't think that's a chain.
So,
Brothers Pizzeria.
So what happened was, then they ran back to the pizza guy and said, "Hey, this isn't what we ordered." And then the pizza guy reveals himself to be Evil Skull.
Oh!
And Evil Skull consumes them, consumes Mingus and Treebean, and then blows them up from the inside. The end.
Oh my
That's so evil.
goodness.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
gonna
in
be
like
Evil
5
Skull
minutes. By the
for
way.
Halloween. Did you know that?
Evil Skull for Halloween?
Yeah.
That's so evil. I love it.
Yeah. I believe it was a kind of a devilish side of myself, to be honest, you know. A twisted,
Whoa!
morbid side of myself. That you definitely
I'm
haven't
sorry,
seen on the
Perry, I
last
did not see your-
podcast.
Harry, I did not see your message telling me to wrap it up 10 minutes before I wrapped it up. My bad.
It's alright. Like, I was like, wait, hold on. It's 4:45. I thought you were gonna leave by this point. Like,
I should probably go soon. Well,
Well,
pues,
I don't think we have any more to say, so I think we can end the podcast. You want to be part of our outro?
yeah, sure.
All right.
That sounds good.
So, I hope you
Ooh.
enjoyed this. And also, oh yeah, I forgot. I have a special secret
Yeah, I
message to
remember.
tell you not to guess. So I'm gonna leave the voice channel. So say goodbye to
Okay.
Mingus and George. Not Mingus.
Mingus and George.
Yeah.
That's two of me.
Say goodbye to Mingus. Say goodbye to Jacob. Say goodbye to Eagle
Bye-bye.
Skull. Say goodbye to Tree Bean. Say goodbye to the Gorilla. Say goodbye to Fillmore spelled with a K. Goodbye. So, I just want to say, I thank you. You know, honestly, for I just say like, thank you and all for the help on the well, not help, but like the support on the podcast. So, yeah, and what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I had a list. I swear I had a list. Well, I was gonna say in the outro, so I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna be right back.